Hello and welcome to this week's tarot reading for all water signs. I hope this finds you well. I trust you will use your own intuition as your primary instrument of resonance. Leave behind what does not reverberate. Tarot does not tell the future. The only thing that determines your future is how you react, reflect, and respond to the messages herein. This week I was fortunate enough to procure some new tarot decks that deal in astrology. So I have the Arcana of Astrology by Claire Goodchild, and then the Moon, where is it? The Moon Oracle by Carol Smith and John Astrop. And the latter cards deal with the lunar mansions, however, they are not entirely accurate in terms of Vedic astrology. So I do have to synthesize my own knowledge as well with the interpretations of the cards that are given to bring a well-rounded interpretation of the card. But they're lovely in their own right, but they are not accurate. But I can still use them for divination, so it's all good. I'm really excited to use these cards and to use them ongoing in the future, especially on my Patreon for videos that I might make and for explaining astrology and having these visual tools for everybody to enjoy. So for your reading, I have the 12th lunar mansion, which is Uttara Falguni, and Gaia as well. And this card, Uttara Falguni, or the 12th lunar mansion, is entitled The Fall. And it's about this woman who is kind of just running, not looking where she's going, and she's about to fall off the edge. And there are some people who are like, hey, look where you're going, kind of thing. So if that is the mentality that you're going into this week with, you need to look where you're going, essentially. But Uttara Falguni is the latter red one, Uttara meaning the later or the latter, and Falguni being red, and Puva Falguni being the red one as well, the reddish one. So Uttara Falguni has the ability to accumulate wealth, and I see this across the board in the rest of the cards that have come up this week. It has a lot to do with wealth, obtaining wealth and losing wealth, and making sure that you're not going to the extremes of either or. So the Gaia card is here as well. So that is a very interesting story of Gaia and Uranus and creating these monsters, and then kind of being things that are making things that are drastic, or making things that are just unpalatable to other people, and you kind of have to hide these things away, or you're kind of ashamed of these things. But Gaia isn't ashamed, and she's actually kind of furious at Uranus for treating these creations, even though they are unpalatable and a little bit ferocious and terrible and disgusting looking. She kind of scolds him and is like, hey, this is our creation, like everything has its place. So there's that story there as well. But it is a story about the Oracle of Delphi as well, and the ability to have prophecy, or the ability the foresight, which is kind of what the Fall card is. To have that prophecy, to know, to see the future, and to see your own downfall, and then how to remedy that, or see the downfall of others and how to navigate that. And not be caught unawares, so that you can actually run while looking in the opposite direction. Having eyes in the back of your head kind of comes to mind. So those are two interesting stories. But Uttara Falguni is the power to accumulate wealth, and it is very charitable. Nakshatra, it is found in Leo and Virgo, on the cusp of Leo and Virgo, and it is a nakshatra of philanthropy and friendship, and the fruits essentially is what Uttara Falguni is. And the other cards that I have here are Pisces and Taurus, and you can look to see where Pisces and Taurus are in your chart, and then of course Venus being the natural ruler of Taurus, but then Venus is also exalted in Pisces. But here we see this transition between having wealth, procuring the wealth in Taurus, Venus in Taurus, and then suddenly there is this sense of maybe loss as well, with Pisces being the natural 12th house, the house of losses, the house of ephemeral things. But also Venus is very exotic, and we see this here in the rest of the cards. We have the Strength card, the Two of Wands, and the Six of Wands. And I just see here, especially with the Two of Wands, the man looking at the earth and looking out onto the world, and kind of like the world is my oyster. And again, the oyster, the pearl, those sorts of things start to come up. But it's denotes this exoticness, the luxury. You know, there is so much out there to experience and enjoy. But when I see here too, we have the Eight of Cups and we have the Seven of Wands here as well. So there is that loss as well. There is procuring the wealth and then losing the wealth. And what is your attitude towards that? And the Eight of Cups, of course, is Saturn in Pisces. So it's these pilgrimages. It's this higher spiritual path where you actually abandon things. It's not so much that you lose them, but you just abandon them for a greater adventure, or a greater path, or a greater calling to you. And of course the Seven of Wands is the struggle, trying to keep that higher ground, trying to keep above everybody else. And it's that you're fighting against all these energies or peoples or karmas, and it's quite difficult to keep that position. So it's this reading for the water signs for you guys this week is this story of the extremes of having a lot and not having anything. And I suppose that the real message here is to think about your attitude towards these two extremes, and to have that balance with the Strength card here, to have dominion over your mentality and over your emotions and over these extremes. The lion is seen to be tamed here, but a lion is a wild animal. So just having control, massive amounts of control over yourself, over your faculties, even though the environment is tumultuous, or can be very giving and then also be very barren at the same time. And of course the King of Wands is here as well, so having that control, the reins of the chariot. And he of course has a lion, especially in this Hermetic deck here. He has the lion as the horse of his chariot. So there is that, again, that control over speculation as well. Leo being the natural fifth house, which is the house of speculations, creations, and realizing that just because you create something doesn't mean that you actually have complete control over its success. You are the author or the creator, but other elements go into the success of a project, or into the success of a child, or into the success of whatever it is that you're creating. So just knowing these things. But the Hermit card has also come up here, and I just feel as though this is a path that you're taking that is going to be very slow, a slow lesson that's coming in here. And just really again, back to that Eight of Cups here, the greater adventure, but having some sort of what should I say, like pace, some sort of pace to it, and it's something that you will be going along in the day and the night. Usually when we think about pilgrimages or travel, we travel during the day and then we sleep at nighttime. But this is a very long path that you're taking, and it requires you to be awake at nighttime as well, and to use the dead of night to your advantage, and to progress forward. But the Ten of Cups is here as well, so I'm just seeing a lot of prosperity coming through, but also of course that extreme of the other side of just losing it all. So again, back to your attitude towards these things. Like, how attached are you to wealth, fame, the fruits of your labor? How attached are you to the earthly pleasures, to Taurus, to Venus in Taurus? How attached are you? Because the more attached you are, the more suffering that actually creates. Whereas if you take on the stance of Venus in Pisces, or just Pisces in general, you are fulfilled spiritually. And again, that's what the Eight of Cups is that spiritual pilgrimage. Saturn in Pisces, the spiritual pilgrimage that leads you to a greater adventure, and you're leaving all of those cups behind, you're abandoning them. So really looking at your attitude towards material possessions, towards luxuries in your life, and just thinking about Ramadan this week as well. We give up, or people give up the luxuries, they give up certain things, and of course the very basis of Ramadan, which is to fast. So giving up those the bodily desire, the bodily desires, and testing your fortitude. And again, the Strength card is here as well. So maybe observing that this month, or fasting, doing some fasting to know what the lack of is like, so that when it happens, you are prepared for it, and you're not caught unawares, and you're not you're not that lady who's just falling to her detriment in the Fall card here. And of course, with Gaia here as well, going to the extremes to protect the thing that you've created, your baby, essentially, especially, thinking about the story of Gaia and Uranus, and how, she goes to protect all of these monsters from her son. So yeah, it's a very interesting reading this week. It's a reading of both the material, very much so with Taurus, and then Pisces as well with the eternal, the non-dualistic, the ephemeral, and the transient. So really looking to see what's happening in Taurus and Pisces for you. We have Jupiter moving into Pisces in about the middle of April, and then of course Venus moves into Pisces at the end of April in sidereal astrology. So just seeing those transits in your chart and seeing what's being activated there. And of course we have no transits happening in Taurus until the month of May. We have the Sun moving into Taurus, and then Mercury as well, and then I think that's it. So yeah, April, May, just looking at those areas, and looking at your wealth and your attitude towards wealth and lack of wealth, and maybe thinking back to times when you didn't have any wealth, where you were a bit thrift, where you were a bit frugal, and where you are now. And if it's reverse, thinking about those two dynamics, those two extremes, and to what lengths you will go to secure yourself, or have that stability in your life, whether that be tangible, material stability, or whether that be spiritual stability as well, because that is also very important. If we're not grounded in our spiritual practice, if we're kind of off with the fairies, up on the roof, a lot of things can start to fall apart for us in our material life. We start getting a little bit crazy, and things start really falling apart. So just making sure that we are stable and enduring in both of those realms this month. I hope that you enjoyed your reading. Thank you for listening. Bye.